Hey, what's up? It's Jack here with a BTN News update for Tuesday, the 4th of June. First up, and today marks the 30th anniversary of protests in Tiananmen Square in Beijing, China. Back in 1989, hundreds of thousands of people held a big rally to demand change from the government. But on June 4th, hundreds, possibly thousands of people were killed when the military opened fire. It's known as the Tiananmen Square Massacre, and there was outrage around the world, including from then Australian Prime Minister Bob Hawke. He let tens of thousands of Chinese students living in Australia stay here permanently. Meanwhile, back in China, many protesters were punished or imprisoned for being involved, and there were tighter media restrictions put in place. The governments mostly tried to cover up what happened, and even today, people in China aren't really allowed to talk about Tiananmen Square. It's hard to even find any photos online because of censorship. But elsewhere in the world, people today have marked this important and sad piece of history. Right now, it's snowing in Queensland. Yep, no, it's actually snowing in Queensland. Icy winds have made the temperatures drop to below zero in parts of southern Queensland, transforming the Sunshine State into, well, more of a snowfall state. Experts say snow in Queensland is rare, but does happen every so often. And you better be quick to grab your toboggans, skis or snowboards before you miss it, because experts don't reckon it'll last. Which makes me think we won't be moving the Winter Olympics to Queensland anytime soon. Staying with the theme of bizarre things up in Queensland, a family is trying to kick off a new craze of taking in camels as pets. The Mitchells have a cattle farm in Ipswich, and they've just added 4 camels to the mix. And 15-year-old Courtney says it's been an absolute delight.
I can go up and hug them, give them pats. They've never spat on me once, and they've never been aggressive or anything. And they're just generally extremely friendly.
Well, I'm glad it hasn't spat on you. That's always good, isn't it? Anyway, it might seem a bit odd, but it's for a really good reason. You see, Australia actually has a bit of a feral camel problem. They were imported to Australia in the 19th century from countries like Arabia, India, and Afghanistan. They were used for transport and heavy work in the outback. But when the internal combustion engine came along, they were no longer needed. So thousands were released into the wild. And with no natural predators and vast areas to roam, the camels have flourished. Today, there are more than 300,000 feral camels living in the deserts of the Northern Territory, Western Australia, South Australia, and in parts of Queensland. And it's causing big problems for landowners. For example, they gulp down millions of litres of water from dams and reserves. For a while, it looks like the only solution has been culling them. But now some farmers are starting to think outside of the box and coming up with alternative solutions, like adopting one as a pet. And finally, the world's cutest and, slowest competition in the world has just wrapped up. The annual baby race in Lithuania. There were 25 toddlers going head-to-head on an epic 5-metre carpet track. At the finish line, parents were luring them with cookies, toys, phones, and TV remotes. Yeah, whatever floats your boat. For some, the pressure was just too much to handle and there was a dummy spit or two. But that wasn't the case for 12-month-old Ignis, who managed to crawl his way to the top. And that's all the news I've got for you today, but we'll be back tomorrow with more. Bye!